All right, today we're going on a mission to find a company's secret sauce. And we're not going to do it by looking at markets or what the other guys are doing. Nope, we're going on an internal expedition. This is all about internal analysis, the art of looking inward to figure out what really makes a business tick, what gives it those unique strengths for lasting success. I mean, it's the big question in business, right? You've seen it. Why does one company just take off and thrive, while another one, maybe in the exact same market, just kind of sputters out? They can have similar products, even the same customers. So what is the real difference maker? Okay, picture this. You've got two companies. Company A has all the funding in the world, a massive team, but the results are, well, they're just okay. But then there's Company B. They're smaller, way less flashy, but man, they are crushing it in their little corner of the world. It just goes to show you that external stuff, like having a ton of cash, isn't the whole story. And that right there, that brings us to the core idea we're digging into today. The key to success a lot of the time isn't found by staring at the competition. It's about looking inward. You want to build a winning strategy? First, you have to get real about what you're truly capable of. All right, let's get into it. How do we even start this internal search? Well, lucky for us, there's a really powerful theory that basically gives us a treasure map. It's called the resource-based view, or RBV for short, and this idea kind of flips the whole script on traditional strategy. Instead of obsessing over the external market, RBV says, hey, look inside. It argues that a company's unique internal resources and what it can do with them, that's the real engine for long-term success. It's all about what you have and what you can do that nobody else can. So let's stick with this idea of a treasure hunt. We're not looking for a chest of gold coins. We're searching for those valuable, one-of-a-kind things inside a company that give it that special edge. So what exactly are we looking for? So these resources we're talking about, they basically fall into three buckets. First, you've got your tangible assets. This is the physical stuff you can actually touch. Property, equipment, computer networks. Then you have intangible assets. You can't touch these, but they can be unbelievably valuable. We're talking brand names, patents, or just a super knowledgeable team. And finally, and this part is so important, you have capabilities. This isn't about what you have, it's about what you can do with what you have. But here's the thing, just having resources isn't enough. I mean, every company has some stuff. The real goal here is to find your unique resources. We're talking about the things that are genuinely better than what your competitors have and are really, really hard for them to copy. That's the foundation of a real competitive advantage. And when you take those unique resources and capabilities and bundle them all together, that's when you get what we call core competencies. And these aren't just things you're kind of good at. No, these are the critical things that really prop up your whole success. It's that special mix of skills and processes that makes your company, well, your company. Okay, so let's say you think you found one of these unique resources. How do you know if it's the real deal? How do you know if it's actual treasure? Well, there's a fantastic 4-part test you can use to find out. First up, we have V for valuable. Simple question. Does this resource actually help you win in the marketplace? Does it let you offer a cool feature nobody else has or maybe lower your costs? Because if it doesn't add a real tangible value, then it's not a strategic asset, plain and simple. Next is R, and that stands for rare. Look, if every single one of your competitors has the exact same resource, then it's not really an advantage, is it? A truly strategic resource has to be something distinctive, something that's pretty much unique to you. That's what gives you an edge. Then we have I for inimitable. And yeah, that's just a fancy word for saying it's really, really hard to copy. Think about a secret recipe, or a powerful brand that took decades to build, or even a one-of-a-kind company culture. The harder it is for someone else to copy it, the longer your advantage is going to last. And finally, the O stands for organized. And listen, this one is absolutely crucial. You could have the most valuable, rare, and impossible-to-copy resource on the planet, but if your company isn't set up to actually use it, it's basically worthless. You need the right systems, the right processes, the right culture, the whole shebang to really exploit that treasure you've found. And there you have it. That's how it all comes together. When a resource checks all 4 of those boxes, valuable, rare, inimitable, and organized, that's it. That's when you have a real, sustainable competitive advantage. This is the treasure we've been looking for all along. Okay, awesome. So now we know how to identify our treasure. The next logical step is to figure out where in the company this value is actually being created. For that, we're going to need some X-ray vision. And this is it. It's called Porter's Value Chain. It's a super powerful tool that lets us see a business not as one big blob, but as a series of connected activities. And the idea is that each step in this chain should add a little more value, which all adds up to a bigger profit margin at the end. It breaks everything down into two main categories: primary activities and support activities.
So let's start with the primary activities. Think of this as the main assembly line of the business. It kicks off with inbound logistics. That's getting all your raw materials in the door. Then operations turns that stuff into your final product. Outbound logistics is all about getting that product to your customer. Marketing and sales make sure people know it exists and want to buy it. And finally, service is everything that happens after the sale to keep customers happy. Every single one of these steps is a chance to create more value.
But of course, none of those primary activities just happen on their own. They need a solid foundation to stand on, and that's where the support activities come in. We're talking about things like procurement, technology development, and HR. And it's so important to see these not just as costs on a spreadsheet. They're the essential systems that make all the primary work even possible. A weak link here can seriously mess up the whole chain. Okay, so we've found our treasure using the VRAO test, and we've mapped out the territory with the value chain. Now for the big question. What do we do with all this amazing insight? Well, now we turn it into a winning strategy. And this is where a tool you've probably heard of comes in, the classic SWOT analysis. It's the perfect way to connect everything we've learned about the inside of our company with what's happening on the outside. Those strengths you found, your VRIO resources, your core competencies, they go right in that top left box. Your weaknesses are the gaps you found. Then you'll line all that up against the external opportunities and threats that are out there in the market. And this is the moment it all clicks. This is the payoff. You see, a great strategy isn't about trying to be good at everything. It's about making smart choices. It's about creating a plan that specifically uses your unique internal strengths, that Rio treasure we found, to go after the best opportunities out there and protect yourself from the biggest threats. When it comes right down to it, the whole thing boils down to this one powerful idea. It's not just about having the best stuff. Superior performance, real winning, comes from how you use those resources, how you deploy them to build abilities that create real, meaningful value. And that brings us to the final question, not just for businesses, but maybe for ourselves too. After looking inward, after using these tools to take a hard look, what is your unique, valuable, and hard-to-copy superpower? Because honestly, finding it, that's the first step to winning.